Yes, and it's time that they do an upgrade. I mean, they've been around so many years. Come on, guys, you all need to air condition that place. So, coming up to my right, if this guy will ever cross this drain. Right, there's this statue on my right here. Everybody except the middle row behind me, can you all guess who that is? So, Eugene, Jake, and Emma. Not you guys.
No, Shakespeare.
Good guess, but no. That's right. Jay got one. I will only ask you all something that is really obvious. So yes, we still have a statue of Columbus up, and there's no really...
Is that quite controversial?
Not really.
No,
Not really. Because I think, at least in my opinion, bringing out a statue doesn't really change anything. It's the society that has to change.
Yes.
A statue is just a cosmetic thing. It looks good, but unless the system changes, then it's just something for show.
Yeah.
That being said, our story did not begin there anyway. Our story began thousands of years prior to that with the indigenous people, of which I am partly descended. My great-grandmother was a Carib, indigenous person, and she died at 99 with bone straight black hair. Not a single gray. We used to wonder when we were children, if she was some sort of spirit woman back in the day or something. Because I mean, no grays, but I have grays. So that should tell you all that I'm cool. for the Trinidad in the car, I am no Obia man. For the English, I'm no voodoo person. So, then in 1498, this dude that you all just saw there, Chris, came with a bunch of Spanish sailors and claimed the island in the name of the King of Spain, called it Trinidad, as in the Blessed Trinity in Roman Catholicism, and did what they were really, really, really good at, and that was killing people. They were really efficient with that. Among the colonizers, they were like, the most efficient. So they did a good job at killing off the ancestors and so on. And not many of my ancestors were left. Now, I might sound a little bit of nonchalant about this, but probably because it's the Spanish side of me speaking, because I'm also descended from the Spanish too. So there's that internal conflict that goes on inside of me. Anyway, the Spanish did absolutely nothing with this island for close to 300 years. It wasn't until the 1780s that they said, hey, you know what? We need to populate this island, we need to develop this island, grow its economy and so on. And that is where Eugene, with his correct answer, comes in. They invited the French people from Guadeloupe, Grenada, Martinique and so on to come and populate the island and install plantations and so on. They had the money, they also had the slaves. So they brought the slaves with them as well. And they came in such numbers that Trinidad eventually became a French-speaking island that was governed by the Spanish.
Oh.
Right, so that is how come we use words like fête, jus vert, mango vert, mango douce, and so on and so forth. So Jake and Emma, those are examples of French words we still use to this day. So fête being one, meaning party. Types of mango vert, green, mango douce, sweet, jus vert, early part of the day, daybreak, jus ouvert, so on and so forth. And so soon after that, England invaded in 1797. So that's where England comes in. They're represented in the car. England comes in, invaded, takes over the island, and had a capitulation agreement with Spain. And it had some odd line items, but one of the oddest line items was this: that for 4 years, England had to enforce Spanish law. They could not put in any of their own laws. So between 1797 and 1801, we were English governed with Spanish laws they had to enforce, and the language of the day was French. Not even the EU ever got to that level.
Talk about a Kalaloo.
I know, right? That's where it all started. So that is how come, the then slaves were speaking French as well. So for many decades, Trinidad was still a French-speaking island. This is where the England bashing comes in. So, England, and by extension, other first world countries today, will preach to the rest of the world about the wonders and utopianism of democracy and freedom of expression and a capitalist society and so on and so forth. But what they will not tell you is that between 1801 and 1925, England banned all forms of political elections on the island. All. Banned it. Not as in as a criminal, bandit, but no, banned it. So, for 124 years, Trinidad had no form of political elections. In fact, the first election under English rule was 1925, not even 100 years ago. And they banned the elections so that no one of French heritage would be part of the politics of the island. So you understand why third world countries will cry hypocrisy when first world countries will preach these things down our throats, kind of thing. That's it for the bashing. Because we're happy for cricket, football, and for the Americans, that's the one with the foot, and black pudding. We love black pudding in this country. Love it. Thank you. So, anybody, y'all know what's black pudding, right? The Trinis.
Yeah.
But you know what it is. Good. Right. So when slavery ended, the French people had to find laborers for their own plantations. So that is where they imported laborers from Madeira, Portugal. And that is where the Portuguese influence came in, and why we love bacalhau so much. Which, if you don't know, that's salted cod. Yeah. Now, that went on for another 10 years until in 1845, England said, don't worry, French people, we have the jewel in our crown, India. And that is when Indians were brought in their thousands to this island from India. 80% of which were Hindu, the other 20 were Muslim. That went on until 1917. However, between 1865 and 1875, they had an issue finding adequate labor from India, so they had to find a substitute source. And England, Jake and Emma, reminded the French people that the sun never sets on the British Empire. We have Hong Kong. And that's when Hong Kong, Cantonese, Chinese were brought into Trinidad as well. Every Trinidadian loves Chinese-style chicken. Although you will not find that in China. But we love it. Then came World War II. And I did my research. And I can confirm that there was no internet at the time. But somehow, Lebanese and Syrian people found their way to Trinidad as well. Came in their numbers, set up business. And Caribbean, I'm sure you all know of Caribbean, is actually owned by the descendants of Syrian migrants. Imagine they came here to brew beer. Yeah. There's a little irony in there somewhere, you know, you're from Syria, kind of thing. All I know, what I like about the word Syria is just, it sounds like Syrah, like that wine, you know, which I actually love. Anyway, 1962, the Trinidadians will know what happened in 1962. What happened in 1962, Trinis? Thank you. No longer were we singing God Save the Queen. Instead, we started singing Where Every Creed and Race Finds an Equal Place. That's a line in our national anthem. And it extends to our religious ideologies as well. Our three major faiths are Christianity, and its tons of derivatives, Islam, and Hinduism. So we celebrate Eid al-Fitr as a national holiday, which is Islamic. We're going into Ramadan in the middle of Lent. Not a good time for food vendors. Because both Christians and Muslims will be fasting. We also celebrate Diwali, which is Hindu. We celebrate that as a national holiday. Just like Christmas, Good Friday, Easter Monday. And I'm Roman Catholic, and I don't even know why we celebrate Corpus Christi as a national holiday, but we do. I mean, not even European Catholic countries celebrate that. But we do.
Well, you can't have too many now.
No, we only have 15 holidays. And